Well, good morning, everyone. We're here at the Answers in Genesis offices. I'm with Brian Osborne,
Yes,
one of
sir.
our speakers, one of our dynamic speakers.
Wow, dynamic. Thank
Dynamic? Yeah, you've come up in the world.
you. 7 Up, yes.
Yes, but we're here at the Answers in Genesis offices at the Creation Museum, and we've got some exciting things to talk about today, really exciting
Absolutely.
things. It's exciting what's happening with Answers in Genesis resources and other ministries that we like to partner with. Ministries that are impacting this world for the Lord Jesus Christ. You know, it's interesting when you look at the statistics of what's happening. Church attendance per age group is dropping.
Getting worse.
Here in the United States, there's an exodus from the church, and we really need to reach the young people. The millennials are so secularized. And then Generation Z if you're in Australia.
Z.
Okay. The ones coming behind them, they're more atheistic than the other generations, and it's pretty sad to see what's happening. Actually, what's happening in America has already happened in Europe, across the United Kingdom, and we
Just
see
on the secular culture in the church as well, right? We're seeing these kids walk away.
We are.
Yeah.
So we have a very special guest with us today, Ryan Frank from Kidsmatter. Kidsmatter. How do you spell Kidsmatter, Ryan?
Kidsmatter. You got to put a Z in there. KIDZ.
Okay, for Australia, it's KIDZ. Just so you know.
We'll roll with it.
Okay.
Ken, thanks for having me today, and Brian.
Hey,
It's an honor.
it's great. Hey, how do you say zebra? Zebra.
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 We'll roll with it.
It's actually zebra.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Bless
So
you.
we're not going to talk about zebras or zebras today.
Okay.
So Ryan, you're from a ministry called Kidsmatter, and you have a magazine called Kidsmatter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about
We
the magazine?
do. We do. Ken, I've been in children's ministry for 20 years, and many of those years as a children's pastor at a local church. And we began publishing the magazine that you're holding in your hand 10 years ago, Kidsmatter Magazine. And the whole idea behind the magazine is, hey, let's put a resource in the hands of people that are in the trenches, working with kids and families week after week. And so from the magazine, the Lord has blessed our ministry, and we've been able to launch some other great resources, including a conference that Answers in Genesis is a major partner with us on, and that's our Kidman Nation MegaCon. We have an online school, a 12-month school for children's pastors called Kidman Academy. If you're a prospective children's pastor or a current children's pastor wanting to improve and get better, and the Lord's given us various ways and really neat opportunities to come alongside of the church and just raise the flag that there is a generation that needs to grow up in the ways of the Lord, and that by God's grace will know, love, and serve Christ for life. And it's been a blessing to be partners with Answers in Genesis for many, many of these years. We sure love you guys and what you do.
Now, Ryan, before we go on, before we can promote any magazine or any other ministry or any conference, I have to make sure of something. Do you actually believe God created in 6 literal 24-hour days, just like the Bible says?
Okay, now I'll answer that question, but I got one for you. My answer is yes. He did. He created in 6 literal days. Now, but I've got a trivia question for you and Brian. Are you ready for it?
Okay, all right.
All right. Now, it's a five question trivia or 5-part trivia question, 5 questions. If I stump you guys, you're buying me ice cream at the Ark the next time I'm there.
Okay, I'm already resigned to the fact I'll be buying you ice cream. All right.
All right.
He'll make me
That's
pay.
okay. All right.
Can one of you two, we'll start with Ken. Ken, what's the name of this dinosaur I'm holding in my hand?
What's the name of that dinosaur? A Rhinoceros?
A Rhinoceros is really close. That's his middle name. What's his first name?
We can't say Brontosaur because I don't think Brontosaur exists anymore. Or he didn't exist. He did exist, and then he didn't, and then he existed again, and they sort of changed their mind on
just
it.
get the answer, not
I'm-
What's the answer?
Well, I'm thinking about how much it's going to cost me to buy ice cream.
He's got
Well, how about an Apatosaurus?
an Apatosaurus. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, here's number 2. This one's for
That's
Brian.
good, yeah. Way to keep talking till you
Okay.
remembered.
All right.
Brian, are you ready? This one's for you. The name of this dinosaur.
Well, the head looks like a crocodile in a sense, but I'm going to go with Stegosaurus.
He's got 4 spikes on his tail. A Stegosaurus is correct. This ice cream is not looking good for me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Kim, this one's for you. He's got two short little arms.
He does. He sort of looks like a T-Rex, but he's not the right color. But then again, T-Rex could be any color you want him to be.
T-Rex is correct. You guys are 3 for 3.
So we got 2 more.
He's not going to get any ice cream.
All right, Brian, this one's for you.
Okay.
Now, this one's from my daughter's collection.
You know, he thinks we're kids. He's so used to teaching kids.
Kids
he has his
ministry.
kids ministry for reaching kids. And
Seriously. Okay, Brian, look at him.
that's a Brianosaurus.
I do like blue.
Well, no, it's
There's
not
a lot of Carolina
it's not-
blue.
it's
not a sauropod.
He's got 3 horns.
I'm gonna
1,
say
2, 3.
I'm going to say
Is it Barney? Isn't Barney blue?
He's not purple. Yeah,
Oh,
Barney's purple.
okay.
Yeah. Triceratops.
What is he? Triceratops.
There we go.
Okay, 4 for 4.
You get the last one.
Oh,
I've
no.
given up on my
Oh,
ice
no.
cream.
That means
Okay.
you're buying if you don't get it.
Now, what about this one?
Yeah, that's not a now. Okay.
Loch Ness.
Okay.
You're going to get.
Okay.
you're gonna
No.
get
No.
technical, Tommy.
Okay. Ryan, I want you to listen carefully. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. You're asking me what is the name of this what? Oh, look, he froze.
Oh,
He froze.
he froze.
You know,
froze in
you
the
know why he
moment.
froze? Because he said, what are the name of these dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Right? That's not a dinosaur.
That's right. Very
the
good.
word dinosaur is
Yeah.
only used for land animals, and that's a sea creature.
That's a good catch.
And that's a plesiosaur. He doesn't get any ice cream.
Or maybe it was a trick question to
So-
begin with. Maybe he was testing us.
He might have
That was a
been.
good
And
catch.
look, he froze the screen right then so that he froze it so that...
It's kind of a freaky looking picture just right there with the
It is,
plesiosaur.
isn't
Kinda,
it? It looks pretty good, though. It looks like we designed to do this that way, and so we're hanging on for the answer.
Yeah.
Hey, just while we're waiting on Ryan to get back to us here, and so we do partner with organisations like
We do.
Kidsmatter, and we're thrilled to be able to let people know about that.
And he's back.
by the way,
Now, listen, I know what happened. I stumped you, and so you disconnected my feet.
well, no, we believe you froze it so that you wouldn't be embarrassed when I tell you that is not a dinosaur.
It's not a dinosaur.
No.
I
Because
understand correctly.
technically the word dinosaur was invented in 1841 specifically for creatures that walk on the land, and that swam in the ocean, so it's technically not a dinosaur. It's a plesiosaur.
That's a good point.
It's
He's a plesiosaur.
So you owe us ice cream. How many do you want?
Right,
2
okay.
scoops? or-
I'm going with 3.
Yeah,
Well,
3 scoops.
I'm
3
going with
scoops each when you come to the
All
yard.
right. So,
Okay.
So Ken and Brian, here's why I did this trivia, because this is why our ministry, we love you guys so much and what you do. I've always loved dinosaurs, and as a children's pastor, I know kids love dinosaurs.
That's true.
The sad thing is that if there's anywhere that dinosaurs should be talked about, and it's not, it's in the church. And so I love that you are producing resources that, and I really think, Ken, I don't know what your opinion is. I think most Sunday school teachers and children's ministry workers, they understand that dinosaurs were part of God's creation, but they're confused on how to teach it.
They are.
And
Because they've been
and how do I
influenced by
combat
evolution.
The lies of evolution. And
Yep,
so
right.
we really appreciate the resources that you're publishing to equip the church and equip parents to tackle things like God's normal creation, but something that's been distorted by the lies of evolution, and empowering them to help kids know the truth.
Let me tell you something interesting. And this was about 40 years ago, and I had brown hair then. I've had to dye my hair since then to let people know I'm getting a little older. So about 40 years ago in Australia, when I was still residing in Australia, I went to a church, and this lady, it was an elderly lady, she saw me then, she knew I was the guest speaker, and she said to me, "So laddie, what are you speaking on today?" And I said, "I'm going to talk on dinosaurs." And then she pointed a finger at me. "Dinosaurs have nothing to do with the gospel. You shouldn't be preaching in our church." She had no understanding, no concept, because people are so indoctrinated with millions of years, and she thought they had nothing to do with the Bible, and she thought I was going to be basically speaking on something that was irrelevant, and of course I got up and talked about that God created all the land animals, and the word dinosaur was invented in 1841 for a particular group of land animals, and explained that they didn't die until after sin. It was sin that brought death. And of course, when you talk about that, and then you talk about the ark, they get on the ark, come off the ark, and so on. And when you talk about the whole understanding of death and the ark was an ark of salvation for those that went through the door to be saved. And death is in the world because of our sin. And that's why God stepped into history to save us, because we are under the penalty of death because of sin and so on. And so you can explain the whole gospel using dinosaurs, right?
You can. And I think one thing, guys, that I found very, very encouraging, of course, I've always been passionate about this, not about dinosaurs and creation and equipping kids to know the truth about the book of Genesis. One thing that's really neat, that I found neat recently, that I think really sparked this conversation we're having today, is we've got a large Facebook group of children's pastors. Now, I know, Brian, you're part of that Facebook group, and you contribute a lot, which is great. And we asked recently, what are your top resources? Have we talked about this yet, guys? We haven't yet.
No, we haven't. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to get on here.
Yeah, we talked about it before we went. Before we broadcast, we talked. I want to make sure I wasn't repeating myself. So we sent out this survey, and we said, what are your top 25, I said, must-have resources? I want to build a list. And so we got all of this data in, organized it all. And I was pleasantly surprised. First of all, number one on the list, number one go-to KidMin resource, Amazon.
Amazon.
Well, I guess I get that. It's so easy to shop for supplies and stuff like that. But that's not really a resource. So what's number two? I got to tell you guys, it was really, really neat. In fact, it was about 30 seconds after I saw the research that I text Dale Mason from your ministry and Brian and said, guys, guess what number two was? It was your answers book for kids. Now, I love that. I have used those. Brian, you've got them there. Great.
Yep.
Beth and I have used these with our kids at home. We have them in our resource library at the church. But I did not expect them to surface on this list with these children's pastors. Now, what that told me a couple things. One, it reminded me of the fact that the question is not, are kids looking for answers? They are looking for answers. I've got a 4-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 13-year-old at home. They're asking questions. I've been a children's pastor. These kids are asking questions. That's not the question. The question that we need to wrestle with is, where are they going for their answers?
Right, yeah, right.
And we have a great role as parents, as ministry leaders and pastors, to help kids get these answers. And so what you're holding in your hand, Ken, these answers book for kids are great. And I was surprised to see that apparently it told me two things. One, there are a lot of churches out there, and a lot of these children's pastors we serve are parents themselves. So a lot of these children's pastor parents are already using this resource. Second, it showed me that Answers in Genesis is becoming more and more and more a resource that the church and that families trust for great content to help kids get a firm grounding in the Word of God. So you guys should be encouraged with this.
Well,
I really see Answers in Genesis as becoming a rising voice, probably one of the premier, if not the premier voice for KidMin leaders, children's ministry leaders, and homeschool parents, and just parents, a go-to resource to help their kids get grounded in the Word, to answer the questions that they are asking. And if we don't answer them, they'll get somewhere else. So kudos, guys. And if you're with us on Facebook Live right now and you don't have this particular resource, definitely encourage you to get your hands on. I know it's available at the Creation Museum, but I'm sure you can buy it online as well, right,
We're
Brian?
thankful to partner with you. Yeah, it is. And we're thankful to partner with you and ministries like you who will take the bold stand to sell these things, to show these things to children's ministries, to show the need for these things. As we often say, we don't give answers about dinosaurs just to win a debate about dinosaurs. It's about defending biblical authority. Because for so many kids, so many adults today, they think the Bible's been disproved by modern-day secular evolutionary ideas. And so we give
Brian,
those answers to defend the faith.
Are you going to give us an example of one?
Yeah, in fact, let me just mention a couple of things here. AnswersInGenesis.org, our store, they can get them from there. Actually, because Amazon was number one, and we were number two for resource. Amazon is really big, of course, and you can get all sorts of Christian material on there as well as secular. But that means we must be the Christian Amazon. Is that right? a little mini Christian Amazon.
You know what? I say, quote Ryan Frank on that one. Yeah, let's do it.
And just for interest, it doesn't surprise me that came up as very, very popular because there's 400,000 of these in print.
Are there really?
Wow. We have 8.
I think now moving forward, I ought to get a royalty on that, don't you think?
We have 8 in the set, and they cover different topics. This one, this is Volume 1, and it's dealing with creation and the fall. and then dinosaurs and the flood of Noah, and then God and the Bible, sin, salvation, and the Christian life, space and astronomy, Babel and the Ice Age, evolution of millions of years, Satan and the angels.
Okay, these are questions from real kids. Correct?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We asked kids to send us in the questions that they had about the Bible, about science, about Christianity. These are real questions from real kids. And you know what's interesting? They're the same questions that teens and adults ask, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And so we wrote these for their level, like middle school and younger in particular. And so these are our answers books. In fact, we have answers books as well for the older kids and adults.
Yes.
And they're the biggest selling creation apologetics books in the world, actually. I think there's over 1 million of those in print. But these are the answers books for kids.
Now, Ken, let me jump in. I know most of the folks watching with us live or watching this recording later, I'm sure are already fans of Answers in Genesis, but I have invited the Kidman community to join us today. So if I can speak to them for a minute. If you're a children's pastor, or if you are part of a church and you've got children and you know the children's pastor, I want to make sure you understand a few things. Answers in Genesis, they not only have books like these resources that we've just mentioned, the Answers books for kids. They've got a great curriculum, Answers Bible curriculum.
Oh, he froze again.
Well, he froze again, but I'll kind of keep going. He was talking about the Answers Bible curriculum, which is our ABC curriculum, and then do you want to talk about that?
The Answers Bible curriculum. Answers Bible curriculum is our apologetics curriculum. Actually, 10,000 churches are now using this in the U.S. And there's churches in Canada using it, churches in Australia using it, churches in other countries using it. But it's pre-K right through adult, and it's totally synchronized so that everybody covers the same subject matter but at different levels. And we have these done up in special units, and it deals with apologetics, biblical authority, and chronological. And so we go through the Bible chronologically. Through Old Testament, New Testament.
4-year curriculum.
And it's 4 year. And we teach biblical authority. It's evangelistic. We connect Old and New Testament all the way through.
And the gospel is all the way through.
The gospel is all the way through. And then we teach people that if you come across a question that attacks biblical authority, you need to be prepared. And so we know the questions people are going to ask. And so we teach them apologetics all the way through as well. So, Ryan, while you had a little sleep there and went off air.
I needed to warm up my coffee. Sorry about that. I was saying, Ken, I don't think I've told you yet. I told Dale that at our church, we just switched to Answered Bible curriculum a few months back.
Awesome.
Also, I want to make sure if you're a children's pastor that you know that Answers in Genesis has a great vacation Bible school. Now, I keep a good pulse. There it is right there. I keep a great pulse on the vacation Bible schools and what the publishers are publishing. And I've heard from an industry, someone in the industry that does research, that Answers in Genesis is at the top of vacation Bible schools being used in churches. If you are not familiar with the vacation Bible schools that Answers in Genesis publish, please become aware of that. There's still time to order for this summer. We've decided our church this summer to use, second year in a row, Answers in Genesis Bible School. Brian, anything you want to say on the Bible school? I know you're kind of a pro at that.
I'm going to be biased, of course, but I do. Yes. It's incredible, like the stuff that we do, because it's equipping kids to defend the biblical authority where it's being attacked today in a way that they can get engaged. It's all the content with all the bells and whistles of VBS. So you get the excitement, the engagement with all the activities and the games and the themes, but also the content to defend the faith at age-appropriate levels. And it's been rising in popularity year after year by God's grace.
There are thousands of churches using it. And because of our emphasis on apologetics as well as biblical authority and the gospel, we have churches telling us they're seeing kids saved like they haven't done for years. They even see adults being saved. And, a lot of programs out there, if I can say it, tend to be fluff and stuff and entertainment and very shallow. One of the things we've always done is to make these very meaty. Kids love to learn. Kids don't want the shallow fluff and stuff. They want to learn, and they love learning. And because of the emphasis that we have, in fact, the one for this year, Time Lab, And we have, how many bits and pieces? I'm going to ask one of our staff that's sitting over there.
Over 110.
110 different items that go in this Superstarter kit. And this one this year, because our writers found that a lot of kids thought that Jesus came into existence as the babe in a manger. They didn't really understand the concept that Jesus is God who exists in eternity. And so we wanted to explain that to them. And, you know, in another couple of months' time, we're actually going to be trialing the one for next year, which I think it's going to be, every one is a level above the previous year. And this next one, it's exciting. I know we've got a competition going on right now in regard to that. But
Ken, I would add to that what you said about kids want to learn. And I would also say this, don't forget this, if you're a ministry leader, that moms and dads want their kids to learn. I think we put way too much emphasis in children's ministry in the glitter and the glam. And I'm all for environments. I think environments are great. I think bells and whistles add. I think fun and games have their place. But mom and dads really need your help. And they desperately need it. And as Ken said, the kids themselves, they're not only capable of learning more truth than we often give them credit for, but they want it. And so that's a great reminder. Now, Ken, I don't know if you remember this, and I'm not mentioning this because I'm trying to sell this book. In fact, the publisher is out of business. I don't know if you can buy this anymore. But Ken, you remember 5 years ago, you helped me write this book, Give Me Jesus, having a gospel-centered children's ministry. Ken, you wrote a chapter in this book. I'm mentioning this again. I don't even know if this book's on Amazon anymore because the book did so well that the publisher went out of business, Ken. That's how well they did. But I understand. I'm bringing this up because I understand you have a new book on the gospel that's coming out.
That's true. I'll get Ryan to hold it up here, called Gospel Reset.
Man, you guys are great. I wasn't even planning on talking about
we just happen to have it here.
You got them right there.
We just happen to have it here. Yeah.
Hey,
before we talk about that, let me read a couple of the comments here. Somebody said, totally agree. They want information. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read this one. Woohoo! Answers VBS. Did I do that okay? Can you do it better?
There you go.
No, you did great.
Okay.
I thought you knocked it out of the park.
Okay. All right. So nobody's mentioning Ryan yet. I'm looking.
Come on, friends.
Anyone? No, nobody's mentioned Ryan. They mentioned
Ken,
us.
Tell us about this new book, and is it something for parents or children's ministry workers?
Yes,
who's it really written to?
It is for anyone who is going to be doing their best to proclaim biblical authority and the gospel to any age group. And what I'm really saying in here is, hey, the gospel hasn't changed, God's word hasn't changed, but what has changed is the culture. And the younger generations are so much more secularized than the older generations. For instance, when you said God to the older generations, they would think of the God of the Bible. You say God to younger generations today, and it's which God? There are many gods.
That's exactly
we have
right.
whole generations who no longer have the foundation to understand the gospel. And what I'm saying is we've got to present the gospel more like Paul did to the Greeks in Acts 17. Peter going to the Jews in Acts 2 was like going to our culture generations ago. Paul going to the Greeks in Acts 7. Yes, Billy Graham style. But Paul going to the Greeks in Acts 17, our culture is more like the Greeks today. And they don't have the foundation, they don't have the terminology. And so many pastors and others have been reading this book, and they're getting it for their leaders in their churches and getting it for other pastors. It's actually a really radical idea, Ryan. Well, you hear this. It's an incredible radical idea. How about we present the gospel the way God does it in the Bible by starting at the beginning? What do you think of that radical idea?
There you go. That makes sense. Makes sense.
The radical idea is when you read a book, you usually start at the beginning, and we should do that with the Bible. What do you think?
I agree. Now, how long has that book been out for, Ken?
It's been out for about, 3 to 4 weeks now. And I think we're already ready for our third printing.
I was just asking because I figured I thought you would send a copy to some of your friends, but I know mine's probably in the mail. It's all right.
Say the name of the book again.
Oh, the name of the book is Gospel Reset.
That went right over his head. You didn't hear me, did you, Ken?
No. What did you say?
I'm surprised it's been out for 3 or 4 weeks. I thought you had sent some copies to your friends by now, but I guess I'll pick one up next time I'm there.
I think it's in its third printing. It says it's the Gospel Reset book for kids. It's not really for kids, but I'd say definitely
for teaching kids.
It's for parents, it's for adults, it's for pastors, it's for Sunday school teachers, teenagers. Actually, it presents the gospel very clearly. So anyone who could read it, even 10, 11-year-old upwards, it's a very easy book to read. So we've covered a lot of things, but Ryan, we really love your ministry, Kidsmatter. We want our supporters to know about other ministries to help them reach their children with the truth of God's Word. And you take the same stand Answers in Genesis does on God's Word right from the very beginning in Genesis. And that's what we appreciate so much about you, and encourage people to get your magazine, Kidsmatter, to find out about your conference is coming up. And Brian's one of the workshop speakers there, right, at that conference.
Yes.
And Ryan, how do people stay connected with you?
Well, I appreciate it. And Ken, thank you for that question. We have a mutual love and respect for your ministry. Ken, we want to continue to have you and the leading Answers in Genesis voices like Brian. We want you to have a big presence in the magazine moving forward as we continue to lock arms for the kingdom, standing on the gospel. It's been an honor and a blessing to be here. If you're a children's pastor or if you're a ministry leader, I'd love to connect with the children's pastor at your church if we've never connected. And Brian, I just yesterday launched a brand new free 3-part video course for children's pastors and children's ministry leaders. Okay. All I need is your name and your email address to send it to you, and I would love to do that. The website to get that is kidmincourse.com. So kidmin, KIDMIN, course.com. If you're not a children's pastor, do me a favor. Tell your
children's pastor to order that series.
Yeah. Well, with Ryan,
we've had a little bit of a problem with, I don't know, does he live on the moon or Venus or Mars or somewhere like that?
I think maybe Indiana. I don't know. It's out there in the boonies.
I don't know where he lives. But the good thing is you and I can keep talking. And I've got a trivia question for him, and then we'll finish this. I want to see how good he is.
Well, I encourage people to look up Ryan Franken Kidsmatter. They do a lot of wonderful things. Ryan stays really busy. Kidmin Nation, Kidmin MegaCon, they do a lot of good work, and we are thankful, so thankful for people who will take a stand with us on the authority of God's Word, and that's what this is all about.
Someone asked here, have you, Ryan, Ryan got mentioned twice now since I said he wasn't mentioned, but have you, Ryan, let me go back to this, where am I here? Have you, Ryan, done any work with the Assemblies of God? And
there he is.
There he is. Have you done any work with the Assemblies of God? That's one of the questions here.
I have. Our magazine, we serve 100 denominations, and I was just consulting with a large Assembly of God church in Texas 2 weeks ago. Yes.
So you would be like us, a non-denominational ministry, right?
Non-denominational ministry. Yep, that stands on the gospel.
Reach out a lot of different denominations. Hey, Ryan, before we go, I tell you what, you unfortunately didn't get any of us to get any of those questions wrong, so no free ice cream. But I'll tell you what, I'll ask you a question. If you get it right, then I'll buy you ice cream at the Ark or the Creation Museum. Okay.
This is intimidating.
Okay. So, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay. So I'm an Australian, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, did kangaroos once live in the Middle East?
Did kangaroos? Let me look it up real quick here. Did
kangaroos once live in the Middle East? Now, I want you to think with a biblical worldview, starting from the Bible and going through creation, corruption, catastrophe, the flood of Noah's day, Noah's Ark, where it landed, what was on the Ark. Okay, I've given you enough hints.
I would say it's very possible that they did. Yes is my answer.
Yes is correct.
Hey!
Because two of each kind, including the kangaroo kind, were on board Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark landed in the Middle East, so kangaroos once lived in the Middle East.
There you go. See? Boom, boom. And free ice cream for me and my family, right? That is great.
Wait.
Okay. You need to take me literally. I said free ice cream for you.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that wasn't allegorical or symbolic for the whole family.
You're a literal guy.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 girls.
Oh, okay. So
yes.
We have homeschool families that come that have a dozen kids or more.
Oh my word, I believe it. They come pulling up in a 15-passenger van, I'm sure, every day.
We actually do get lots of vans, and I speak at a lot of homeschool conferences too.
Yes.
So anyway, Ryan, well, we enjoyed talking to you this morning. We've had fun. And
thank you, Ken. Thank you, Brian.
We put the links there for your ministry there
you.
in the comments section. And if people want to find out more about Answers Bible Curriculum, our VBS, the Gospel Reset book, the Answers books for kids, they can go to answersandgenesis.org. We'll put that link there too. And for your ministry, Kidsmatter, they can go to that link that we'll have there. And I look forward to seeing you. Have you been to the Ark yet?
We have. I've been there twice, and
Only twice?
Only twice. I'm sorry.
How many times have you been to the Creation Museum?
I'm a slacker. Yeah, we have. In fact, if you remember 2 years ago, we did our very first big event in Legacy Hall 2 years ago.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You spoke at it, Ken. I can tell it was really special to you. Yeah, you already forgot. Yep.
Hey, we're building a 2,500-seat auditorium at the Ark.
I heard that from Dale Mason, and actually we're trying to figure out what kind of, in all seriousness, what kind of an event we could do there.
You could do another event there, and we could put curtains behind the first 2 rows of seats so that
there you go.
It'd look full.
So it would feel
for you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You got the gift of discouragement, don't you? Ken?
What's that?
You got the gift of discouragement, don't you?
Do you give away cars?
I do. Hey, at our conference, we, what children's pastors, I think, are some of the most overworked and underappreciated people. Mm-hmm. People that are back with the kids week after week. So at our conference last year, we decided we're going to give somebody a new car. And all you have to do is come to get your name in the hat. And this year, we're doing the same thing. We're giving away a 2018 Chevy Malibu just to bless a children's pastor with. So
a Chevy Malibu.
Chevy Malibu. I
thought it might have been a Kia.
You know what? Maybe we should do some Answers in Genesis partnership, and maybe we could figure out how to make it.
You actually do give away a car.
We really do.
Yeah.
We sign the title. We sign the title to the children's pastor at the event. We pay the taxes and everything.
Has it got 300,000 miles on the clock?
You know what? They're new cars.
Is that right?
They're not. It's not a brand new car. The one we gave away last year had 15,000 miles. Okay. So like new, but a current year, like new car.
So, awesome. So some children's ministry pastor,
and
could end up with.
It's going to be a cool event. Answers in Genesis. We were joking earlier with Brian, but Brian's going to be there. Tim's going to be there. Going to have a large presence actually at our event. So
Tim said, hey, since I mentioned you weren't mentioned here, your name got mentioned twice on the comments.
Hey, I feel so loved today. I do.
Now, are speakers eligible for the car?
No, they're not.
So somebody here asked, any pre-K homeschool curriculum and learning to read material that uses the Bible? There are other groups that do that, actually.
Oh, there are. There's a lot of them. So, in fact, if you're not part of the Facebook group that this research came from, it's a great place to discover resources. Just go to Facebook and search for I Love Kidmin. And it's a great place just like that. What resources are out there for this age group? Ask a question. With 17,000 members that are children's pastors, you get all kinds of great feedback.
Okay. I Love Kidmin.
I Love Kidmin. Kidmin.
Kidmin?
Yeah, for kids ministry. Kidmin.
So if I say MAN, Americans think it's still MIN. My Australian accent, the way I say I
gotcha. Okay.
So,
I'm learning.
All right. So I Love Kidmin is the Facebook page they can go to, become a part of that, and then they can learn about all sorts of resources that are available.
They can.
That's very good.
Yes.
Okay, well, before you freeze again and go off and have your little snooze like you kept doing throughout today, we better end off here. So, Brian, where are you speaking next?
Japan.
Are you really?
I am. Yeah, I'm flying out for Japan on Monday with David Checker and Ryan.
Okay.
And we'll be there, and then Malaysia.
Mm-hmm. I've been to Malaysia, spoken there. I know the group there. Okay. Really good group.
Awesome. I'm excited. Yeah.
People can look up our website, actually, and see our calendar events there and find out where you'll be. So with that, we're going to end off here. Hey, what state are you in right now?
I'm in Indiana, right next door.
Indiana, right next door. They need better phone signal.
They do this dial-up. I don't know. They told me it would work, but
okay, great to talk to you, Ryan.
Good to see you, Ryan.
We'll keep up the great work. God bless.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, bye-bye.